Blog Talk Radio.
This is Team Gooch, and we're in WGS, the best running wrestling and gaming radio show ever, only on Blog Talk Radio. And if you don't like anything we say or do, 1, we respect your opinion. 2, fuck you.
GCW presents live 100% chance of pain. July 23rd at the American Legion Hall at 3319 Veteran Memorial Drive in Abbeville, Louisiana. For more ticket information, call 337-366-7480.
This is addictive and expensive, Byron Wilcott. And right now, you're listening to WGS Radio on Blog Talk Radio.
WGS Radio is on the air. How's everybody doing? I'm Billy Boudreaux, and I love sausage pizza. Oh, wait. No, I don't. How's everybody doing on this wonderful May 25th, 2011? Before we get a round of introductions here, I have a couple of programming notes to make everyone aware of. One, Vinny the Guido will not be joining us this week. He called me up. I'm sorry. I apologize for not getting the news out sooner than later. Vinny the Guido will apparently had some business to take care of this week, so he is regrettably had to back out of this week's interview, but he says he will be back on next week. So Vinny the Guido will be here on WGS Radio next week. Now, another thing I want to bring up here very quickly here, it's something I have noticed that we have deviated from for quite a while, and it's something that we're going to start getting back to, is one of the main objectives of this show. And that main objective of this show is to talk wrestling. Talk about the week in wrestling. If you want to do dirt sheets, we can do dirt sheets if you want to. But the main objective is this show is we are to discuss wrestling, what we've seen in the week, what we liked about it, what we didn't like about it. You know, enough with the bells and the whistles and all that kind of stuff that we used to be doing. We're going to start doing here is we're going to start getting back to the basics, back to what made this show so popular here at the beginning of the year. Because quite rather honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, the ratings for WrestleDOWN and Game Up really haven't been that good. It really hasn't been that good. So, in an effort to try to bring things around here on a WGS Radio, especially right now for WrestleDOWN, we're going to get back to the basics, what we're supposed to be talking about, and that's wrestling. So that's what we're going to talk about this week. We're going to talk wrestling. So with that being said, let me go ahead and make a round of introductions. Quickly, one last note. Ashley, unfortunately, will not be here this week. He is having some computer issues, some computer problems, so he unfortunately will not be joining us this week. Nevertheless, we will still discuss Over the Limit and what we thought about it. So with that being said, let's go ahead and make a round of introductions. First of all, Andy is here. Andy, how you doing?
I'm not too bad, thank you. How's everyone who's listening?
We're all doing just fine here. As a WWE fan is here. WWE fan, how you doing?
Doing pretty good, and I totally forgot what the question was I going to have for our guest, which backed out at the last minute, so I have a second chance to get one.
And ladies and gentlemen, he's the king of his own double-wide trailer. It's Chase Matthews. Chase, how you doing?
Not that great, but I'm happy to be here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to get in on our discussion this week, you know the way to do it is to call into 914-803-4615. That's 914-803-4615, or you can log into blogtalkradio.com/WGS Radio and get in on our chat room here. And you can also listen to us live on www.thewrestlegamershow.com. So, with that being said, hold on here as I bring in another person here. ladies and gentlemen. He is the CEO of Homicide Incorporated. He is the Iron Reverend Jake Slayer. Rev Jake, how you doing this week?
Oh, screwed by Blog Talk Radio again. You have to have the latest version of Skype to call in. My computer's so old it won't handle the newest version of Skype, and it doesn't work anyway. So it's like, man, Blog Talk Radio just loves to screw people over. I'm good. How are you guys tonight?
We're doing just fine here. Again, we're going to get back to the basics here on WrestleDOWN, and that is to talk wrestling. And, man, we do have a lot to talk about here. Again, a quick programming note. Vinny the Guido will not be joining us this week. Again, unfortunately, he had to back out due to business issues that came up, but he will be on the show next week. So Vinny the Guido will be here live on WGS Radio next week, ladies and gentlemen. So as we start off the week here, we've never done WWE Superstars before, but so we're going to start doing it because I do watch it on the WWE YouTube channel, and I must say last week's show was rather good. I mean, for one thing, we had Tyson Kidd. And he had Michael PSA as his manager, taking on Yoshitatsu. Now, one thing I did totally agree with, I know I probably touched on it last week, Rev Jake, was the fact that they are starting to use managers again for people who have the in-ring ability, but they can't really vocalize their character.
You know, I'd like to see managers again. I would. I mean, that would be an excellent, thing. Let's talk out of the wrestlers, get a good manager, and it might change a little bit. You said we're getting back to basics now. That's cool. I could finally take my damn pants off again. It hasn't been the same since I started wearing pants.
Now, one thing I am glad that I did see in this match is they're actually utilizing Yoshitatsu, Chase Matthews, because Yoshitatsu, I've said it for the longest time, it's just got so much potential. They need to use him more. Now, albeit Superstars isn't that, widely seen because it's not on WGN America, but then again, where we live, especially with WWE fan, and I don't know about you, but definitely for myself, our cable carriers didn't carry WGN America, so for one, I'm glad that they air WWE Superstars on the WWE YouTube channel on Hulu.com and stuff like that. But again, it's great to see them actually using their Yoshitatsu. What's your thoughts about that?
Well, it's like Nick Bonner said. You need to use these guys right. I mean, whether it's to put them all together or just bring them back as a big division. I mean, I'm a big fan of Tatsu, so it's good that they finally developing him enough and not just jobbing him to death. And hopefully they can put him on TV more. So that's good that they're doing that.
Yoshitatsu got the win in this match, but what I found rather interesting, Andy, is after this match was over, Michael PSA's got in the ring and pretended that he was helping Tyson Kidd up. The next thing you know, he cocks him right in the jaw, saying that you don't fail me. And apparently this union of Tyson Kidd and Michael PSA's was only a 2-week trial basis, but there is a big rumor, Andy. I don't know if you heard anything about it, but from what I heard, there's supposed to be yet another manager making his appearance, and I believe he's supposed to be doing it on this Friday night SmackDown coming up.
Oh no, don't know. We don't get the other wrestling programs in the UK till Saturday, and it's like a week late, so we are behind what goes on with you guys in the States, which is a bit of a bummer. I think it's good that they're bringing managers back, and I quite like sorry about that, Michael Hayes, but I think they ought to bring new managers back and get rid of the old managers. They've got enough of old people in WWE. They need to revamp it and bring some new people in that we've not seen before and get to grow and grow up with them, I suppose, is the term.
Rev, one thing that you and I both have to agree on, Michael PSA is kind of like CM Punk. He's golden on the microphone.
Oh, yeah, he's always been great on the microphone. I mean, it's like, I remember him from the Real Freebirds with him and Jimmy Garvin, and he's just always been great. And you know what? If you eat undercooked seafood, you'll probably get and have to take these nasty pills. So.
Yikes. Well, anyway, we had our next match was a tag match. Now, for those of you who don't know, if you go on the WGS YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/WrestleGamer, I kind of rant on the current state of tag team wrestling today, which is not in a very, solid state. I mean, we don't have any genuine tag teams anymore. We have people basically singles competitors thrown together, probably for like a 2 or 3 week trial basis, and next thing you know, they split them back up and they're just singles wrestlers again. But anyway, we had Santino Marella and Vladimir Kozlov taking on Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. First thing I want to note, WWE fan, I don't know if you saw this, and I don't know if you know this person, but one thing I will say about Jack Corpella, who is basically their Raw commentator, along with Josh Matthews on WWE Superstars. One thing I will say, Mr. Jack Corpella, I can commentate circles around you. I can commentate circles. I'm talking about 400 or 500 circles around you, Mr. Corpella. You are not in any way, shape, or form a decent commentator. Let me put it to everybody like this: Michael Cole is a better commentator than Jack Corpella. Here's a decent example. For one thing, he made reference about Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder as the major broskies, I think about 500 or 659 times in this very matchup. I mean, yeah, once or twice would have been good enough, but come on, Jack Corpella. I mean, I know everybody who's seen the WGS YouTube channel or any GCW video on YouTube right now knows what kind of caliber of a commentator that I am, and basically, when they hear you commentate, Mr. Corpella, it's like a big middle finger in everybody's face. You need quite a bit more work. As an interviewer, you're okay, Mr. Corpella, but you are not a decent commentator.
Said Broskies that many times?
He made reference to them quite a lot in the matchup, but
as many times as you made Green Man jokes?
Probably even more.
Oh God, that is horrible. Oh my God.
But anyway, WWE fan, when you just think about it, I don't know if you ever saw it yet, but just thinking about this match, what did you think? We had Santino Marella and Vladimir Kozlov, former tag team champions. That's a joke, and serious at the same time, taking on Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. I mean, what would be your opinion about this match if you saw it? Because I did see it myself.
It was an kind of weird match, I guess, but good.
Somebody eating chips?
It's not me.
Chase, are you eating chips?
I'm not eating anything. I'm not eating sausage, though.
Anyway, it was a very decent match between these two teams. Like I said, it's not very often we see great tag team matches in the WWE nowadays, but for Superstars and the kind of caliber they delivered a pretty decent match. And one thing, Andy, that is just still boggles my mind when I think about it is, we've seen a lot of signature moves. Sometimes, we see them get a pop, like when Shawn Michaels used to do the Sweet Chin Music, or whenever the Attitude Adjustment or the FU was, or the STF would be done, or anything like that. But I have never seen such a huge pop from the crowd as when Santino Marella does the Cobra.
To be perfectly honest, I think I can't even speak tonight. Signature moves are getting a bit of a joke. A signature move, as far as I was concerned, or a finisher, was exactly what it was. A finishing move to end the match. When a wrestler did a finishing move, you knew the match was over. How many times do people kick out of people's signature moves now? It just makes a farce of the whole thing.
I have to agree with you. But I think maybe they do it to increase dramatic effect of the match. I'm not entirely sure. But you're right. It does make them look stupid. Anyway, bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, Santino Marella and Vladimir Kozlov got the win over Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. But one thing I will notice, if you guys have ever a chance to go back and listen to their entrance for Hawkins and Ryder, the boos, the heat that they were supposed to get for them being a heel tag team was, I want to say, about 75% manufactured. I think solely due to the fact of Zack Ryder's popularity on Twitter and YouTube or the internet series that he's doing. Because I could have sworn when I first heard the entrance music for Hawkins and Ryder, you know, he could have sworn that they were getting a huge pop from the crowd instead of gaining heat like they're supposed to. So I believe WWE might have, you know, recognized that and edited out the pop the crowd was giving them and replaced it with manufactured boos, which is, again, incredibly edited. You can actually tell that WWE did that. Main event time on WWE Superstars, it was Drew McIntyre and Evan Bourne. Now, on paper, thinking about this match, it wouldn't be all that good because we've seen McIntyre and Evan Bourne a lot. I know we've seen Evan Bourne take on Sheamus about countless times. But, again, for WWE Superstars and a main event quality match, they actually delivered. Evan Bourne was superb in all of the executions of his moves. Drew McIntyre, again, a lot of people believe that Drew McIntyre deserves a better push than what he's getting right now. Chase Matthews, would you agree with that?
I agree. I actually like Drew McIntyre. I think he has the look to be, you know, not a main eventer right away, but something similar to Wade Barrett. I mean, because I think they put Wade Barrett back in the main event picture, so yeah, I think Drew McIntyre deserves to be way up than what he is now because I think he's very talented. But, you know, that's just me.
Rev, same question. Do you believe that Drew McIntyre deserves a better push than what he's getting right now?
I think Drew McIntyre can put on his Wellington wading boots and go shag a sheep.
The one and only Iron Reverend Jake Slayer, everybody. Anyway, Drew McIntyre ended up getting the win over Evan Bourne in this main event match. For WWE Superstars, this time around, they actually put on, like I said, a very decent show. A very good show. And you wouldn't normally expect that out of, you know, let's be honest, you know, a lot of people might consider WWE Superstars to kind of be like the B or the C show in the WWE universe because you have Raw and SmackDown, which are your two primary shows. And a lot of people really don't pay too much attention to WWE Superstars. I mean, when's the last time on a WWE program, and like either on Raw or on SmackDown, where they advertise the match that's going to happen on WWE Superstars? Honestly, can anybody remember?
Barely.
Oh.
That's what I thought. But I would have to give it a you know, best match of the night on that one. It's got to go to the you know, even though I'm not a big fan of tag team wrestling, I got to go with Santino Marella and Kozlov taking on Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. They actually, you know, in a way, kind of stole the show for WWE Superstars.
Quick question. I thought, weren't Hawkins and Ryder like tag team champions briefly when they were hanging out with Edge?
Yeah, when they were known as the Edgeheads, yes.
Yeah. So you had two former tag team champions competing against each other.
Yes.
And, well, you like Santino Marella, like we're saying, with his signature Cobra, that just sucks. Like Andy said, signature moves don't mean anything anymore. Even the ones they use, like, what is that, the attitude adjustment, or the F5, or, you know, what does that do? Thing? You know, it's just like a body slam.
Yeah,
you know, they got to go back to the old days, or they're going to go down the tubes, hopefully. Yeah.
All right, now we're going to switch over to the debut of Impact Wrestling. And I have to, Rev, I have to start with you first. What was your thoughts about the whole new look of Impact Wrestling, the new color scheme, the new logos, the way the show opened, the way it was presented? What was your thoughts about that?
Worked good for me. Andy brought up something, but I'll let him explain it about the crappy ring apron. But Andy did point it out, and I agree with him on that. Otherwise, you know, I'm a diehard TNA fan. I'd rather watch that than WWE. So, you know, it's like, no matter how bad TNA is, I'll still prefer it over WWE.
All right, Andy, you had something about the ring apron?
Yeah, initial first reaction watching the program, I thought it was very early SmackDown. I think the logo looks like the very early SmackDown, and the ring apron, and I don't want our friends there who were in the Independence League but it looked like $50 worth of cheap naff shit that independent wrestlers would throw around their ring. Didn't look like a professional TV company banner to throw around. The logo, I don't know who they've employed to come up with the logo, but the logo looks like it was designed by a 4-year-old whilst watching Raw vs SmackDown on PlayStation 1.
Wow.
It's just so naff. It's unreal. And as for... I've been looking at some of the internet things, and they say, the new Impact Wrestling's not as good as TNA. It's exactly the same. They've only changed the look. The wrestlers are still the same. The storylines are still the same. They've just changed the look, that's all. So, I can't say it's better. I can't say it's worse, but they're going to have to do something with that logo, and they've got to do something with that ring apron, because it just looks like a cheap, nasty backstreet wrestling company.
Andy, let me ask you this then. Would you consider this? Would this new look would it be a look that we would have to grow upon you first before we can make a solid decision as whether or not to keep it?
I think, to be honest, I don't know if they're trying to play a crafty or not, but it strikes me as a second-rate. Now, it strikes me as a second-rate wrestling company. And unfortunately, they are a second-rate wrestling company when it comes to the WWE, but I don't know why they feel they have to compete with the WWE. There isn't a wrestling organisation in the world that's going to compete with Vince. He's got too much money. He knows the score. No matter what happens in Raw, people are going to watch it week in, week out. It's embedded in your brain. You're still going to watch the shit they produce. TNA need to do something different to encourage the fans to watch their product and not to look at it in the fact that, oh, I've seen this on WCW, I've seen this on ECW. They need to do original stuff. Make Vince worried. That's what they need to do.
Exactly. Chase, what was your opinion about the new look of Impact Wrestling and the way it was presented?
Well, I hate to say, but I didn't catch it, but from hearing for what Annie just said, you know, I'm curious now to what it does look like. So I'm probably going to catch the taping. Wait, is the taping tonight? Or tomorrow?
Impact is tomorrow.
To me,
right, well,
Chase, personally, it looks like they've gone down. If they were standing on a rung of ladders and they'd gone up 5, it looks like they've gone down 9. The production value seems second-rate. The ring looks second, although it's the same ring, it's just got... Do you know how ECW, before it was televised, had its grunge look about it?
Well,
that's just like what TNA seems to be going to. A grungy, dirty backstreet wrestling organisation that's broadcast on TV. They seem to have gone down, bank, not up.
Well, like, you know, as much as I love it, you know, I'm just going to interrupt, but it is in a theme park, so it is like theme park wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, of the two, I do like TNA, although I'm an avid WWE fan and never stop watching the programme, but of the two, if I had to choose which one I was going to watch if they were on Monday night at the same time, I'd be watching TNA. I think they offer a far better card. WWE are pushing the same stars all the time, and I'm sorry, I'm sick of the John Cena's, Randy Orton's, Sheamus. It's the same people all the time, and you can only take so much before you get bored. At least TNA try.
I need that 6-sided ring back.
I think we all need that 6-sided ring back, and the revival of the X Division, in my opinion. WWE fan, what did you think of the new Impact Wrestling? What did you like about it, and what you didn't like about it?
I guess I'm with Andy on it. I don't really like it. They did.
Well, let me ask you this, WWE fan. If you could change one thing about the way they presented Impact Wrestling and what they have on it right now, what would you change?
The
Say that again?
The 6-sided ring.
I believe everybody would like to have that six-sided ring back, because we said it many a time here on WGS Radio. That's what made the company unique. It's what set it apart from other wrestling promotions, is the fact that it had a six-sided ring. I think that's one of the things that made it TNA a major draw. Andy, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, the only thing I've seen, as you know, I watch a lot of wrestling interview shoots, as they're called, and 90% of the wrestlers feel uncomfortable in the six-sided ring.
Really?
Having never been in a wrestling ring, I wouldn't know, but they reckon they find it difficult to get to grips with. My attitude would be, well, learn to get to grips with it, because it's what's going to sell the program. And as for the name Impact Wrestling, I don't think they could have picked a worse name. We know we've got wrestling friends who are on the independent circuit, and I'm not going to say wrestling's fake. We know it's not fake. The punches are fake, and so on. Punches are pulled 99.9% of the time. So why call your product Impact, which sounds more like a UFC thing than, for want of a better word, men ferrying around pretending to really hurt each other, when in fact, unless they do an actual wrong move, there's very little chance of being injured. Most wrestlers tend to get injured when they do a wrong move. The Impact side of it, the punching, pushing, pulling, we all know is as fake can be. I watch it and I laugh at it. When you see someone punching someone in the face, and you can purposely see stamping the foot to get effect. Stop stamping your foot and make us really believe that you're punching the guy. We don't need the sound effects. We know you're not punching him.
I think one person that doesn't need to do that is the Big Show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, the only time wrestlers, damn it, and Chase can probably verify, the only time wrestlers really get injured is when they're doing high-risk moves, and whoever's fault it is at the time, it goes wrong. Throwing someone against the ropes, pretending to punch somebody, putting them in a stranglehold or a figure-4 leg lock, you're not going to hurt anybody at all. And we all know that.
Well, there are a couple of things here that happen on Impact Wrestling I want to address with you guys. One, Chase, tell your dog to be quiet.
Shut up. All right.
All right, well, a couple of things I want to address here that happened on Impact Wrestling this week is what I probably consider maybe not only an utter burial of the X Division, but some, a complete crap. Like a level 2 diarrhea has been taken on. I'm glad you brought that up. On the X Division, we had Kazarian defending the X Division title against Abyss, and then they had TNA make Kazarian drop the title to him. We have Abyss as our X Division title. I mean, what in the frickin' hell is wrong with this picture? I mean, consider the fact, anybody can be in X Division. Yeah, I see that. We had Samoa Joe. X Division is X Division. It's not a cruiserweight division. Yes, I know that. Please don't give that speech to me. But Abyss, really? You couldn't get somebody else other than Abyss to be your X Division champion. You couldn't get Murphy. You couldn't get Matt Hardy. Imagine what kind of X Division champion Matt Hardy would have made for TNA and Impact Wrestling. No, they go the route of Abyss. I am 155, not just fucking percent, disagree with this move. I mean, when I saw this, Rev Jake, I literally almost wanted to shoot my TV when we have Abyss now as the X Division champion.
Well, you're definitely not, as long as he has the belt, you're not going to see an Ultimate X match. He's not going to climb out on those wires. Why didn't you? I mean, it's like, I can see you climbing out on that wire and getting the belt down before I can see Abyss doing it. Really. I like the high-flying X Division. I mean, you say it's not cruiserweights. We all know that. But, like, everybody in the X Division, you look forward to that fast-moving, high-flying, quick-paced match. And they've just totally ruined it. Lick my balls. Yeah.
All right, Andy, I probably know you have a few words to say about this.
Yeah, I'm in full agreement with you, Billy. The moment they gave the X... To me, an X Division match is the cross in the middle of the ring with the belt hanging off it. You've got to get up there and get the belt down. For one, I don't think Abyss is even capable of getting up there. It takes him all his time to get off the floor when he's been thrown down. I don't know if he has knee problems or ligament problems, but we all know that anyone can join the X Division. We also know, we're not stupid, it is a cruiserweight belt. It's, as Jake's just said, it's high-flying, high-risk manoeuvres, it's Hardy's type of working, AJ Styles, to name but a few, Christopher Daniels. They are, to me, X Division. This is just like... The only thing I can put this now forward is saying they might as well give it to somebody like... was he named Zach Gowen? The guy that wrestled with one leg?
Yeah, Zach Gowen.
It's just a complete joke. A complete joke. The X Division title belt, from what I can see, is going to go down the same road that the hardcore title did in the WWF, was it? Or was it WWE then? But it's just going to go down the toilet and disappear.
Chase, we have Abyss as the X Division title. Is TNA just literally taking a dump all over the X Division now? Yes, you heard me correctly. Abyss is now the X Division champion of TNA and Impact Wrestling.
Who the hell booked that, Vince Russo?
Vince Russo's wife, I think, on drugs.
Oh, God. That's just a joke. I mean, nothing against, Abyss, because he's great, but X Division champion? Shit.
Yeah.
I'm just shocked. Like, why him? Like X Division is what kind of makes TNA stand out, in my opinion. Got the AJ Styles, the Hardys, the Christopher Daniels, but Abyss, I don't know. That shouldn't happen. I don't agree with that at all. Nope.
All right. Well, another thing here I want to get to that happened on Impact Wrestling is the fact that we now have yet another Kurt Angle and Jeff Jarrett match. Just when we think that this storyline between these two is over and done with, and they're going to go on to different things in TNA, we're going to have yet another match. But here's the interesting wrinkle that they're putting on this matchup. I believe I think it's for Slammiversary. It's for Slammiversary. Not only is it a number one contenders match to kind of do number one contender for the World Heavyweight title, but Kurt Angle's Olympic gold medal is on the line. Now, maybe this could be the finish. Maybe this is the big finish Impact Wrestling and TNA was looking for to finally finish off the feud of Angle and Jarrett. I am not sure. I want to know what you guys think. Chase, I want to know what you think about that.
Well, first, how long exactly the feud's been going on?
Months.
Months? Well, I mean, you can't say maybe the bookers or writers, whatever you call them, in TNA planned this out, but if this is indeed the final match of these two, it has to be a big payoff because they invested a lot of time with this feud because they milking the shit out of it. I mean, like I said, it has to be a big payoff if this is the final match in this feud, so we'll see.
And, Rev, here's what I find interesting about this whole feud that's been going on over the Angle and Jeff Jarrett. They actually brought in China at the pay-per-view, TNA Sacrifice, and apparently that's the only time they're going to use her. They only brought her in for one match, and that's it. Apparently they're going to be discarding China like she's a piece of trash.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a one-time thing, just like Wildcat Chris Harris was a one-time thing. But as far as Kurt Angle and Jeff Jarrett, I'm sorry, did you say Rey Mysterio is going to headline WrestleMania again? Is that what we're talking about? Because I'm just tired of seeing that. Hey, Cena's champion again, what a surprise. It's like, how many times they have to do the same thing over and over again.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, phone lines are open if you want to get in our discussion. 914-803-4615. That's 914-803-4615. You can also log in to blogtalkradio.com/WGS Radio and get in our chat room. And you can also, if you have Skype, ladies and gentlemen, you can call in via Skype. It is a free call. As I turn to WWE Fan, I thought we were finished with Angle and Jeff Jarrett, but now, as it turns out, at Slammiversary, we have yet another match with not only the number one contendership on the line, but Kurt Angle's Olympic gold medals. When will enough be enough with this angle?
Honestly, I don't know, and I sincerely don't care who wins this match. At least it's going to be over soon.
And, Andy, your thoughts about this one? We have yet another Angle Jarrett match coming up at Slammiversary.
I appreciate what everyone's saying, and I agree 100% what people are saying. The feud seems to have gone on for months and months and months, and it's getting boring, but I don't know why it should be boring, because if we go back to wrestling WWF style, God rest his soul, Randy Savage had the same boring matches against the same boring people throughout his career, and we weren't bored then. So there's obviously something wrong with the writing. That's all I can think. Feuds have always gone on for years and years and years, and they always will do, but this one's just getting under everybody's skin. It's a feud we don't care about, and you've got to be passionate care, and no one cares anymore.
Well, you do have an interesting point there. It could possibly be in the presentation, the way they presented the storyline and the way everything is going. I know a lot of us, especially me and Rev, disagreed with the fact that they brought in the kids, even though they, Kurt Angle and Jarrett and Karen Jarrett, all agreed to it. It's something that we don't like to see being used.
I don't think they should. I don't think they should bring personal stuff into wrestling. They did the same sort of thing with Scott Hall when they made an idiot of him by having him playing the part of a sick, drunk, alcoholic, drug-taking person. That's what he is. We all know that. Why have him play the part on camera? To me, it's slaughtering the wrestler. It's not doing the wrestler any good, and by dragging the Angle family through a storyline, it's not doing any favours to anybody. Nobody cares. It's private. It should be kept private. We don't want to see it on TV.
Well, courtesy of Eric Bischoff and Jeff Jarrett, Velvet Sky was in a handicap match with Winner and Angelina Love. There's another storyline that needs to flutter off into the distance. But anyway, Velvet Sky ended up getting the win here. And what's interesting, we have the return of yet another TNA knockout. And it's very interesting the way they're going to be going about with this. ODB is back in TNA, or Impact Wrestling as well. As she targeted Velvet Sky, apparently what it looks like, Chase, is now we're having another heel turn, this time with ODB. I'm very interesting to see what kind of story they develop between ODB and Velvet Sky.
Well, let's just hope it don't last about 10 months like some storylines on that TNA. It could be interesting, no doubt, but, it's how they book it, It's all up to the creative team and how it's presented. So we'll just see.
You've just answered your own question there, Billy, when you think about it, and this is the problem with TNA. You started the conversation with the return of. We need new characters. Returning people when they've been away for 12 months isn't the way to increase your TV audience.
Yeah, but in all due respect, though, Andy, I mean, look at the Knockouts division and the way it is right now. They really need more of their knockouts who they know they can trust and they know they can actually perform in the ring to come back to help solidify that Knockouts division to make it better than it was. I mean, honestly, how many knockouts do we have in TNA or Impact Wrestling as it is? I mean, we have Madison Rayne, Sarita, Rosita, Tara, Mickie James, Miss Tessmacher. winner, Angelina Love and Velvet Sky.
I personally think it's 1 in, 1 out, and I think it's going to be Tara out, ODB in. I think that's how TNA seem to work. I also thought that the TNA were going rather sexist at one point. They're only employing pretty girls. That's why the uglier females were not pushed and were released.
Hello, ODB, ODB, hello.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, ODB comes back in, and I'm thinking, what are you doing, TNA? 1 minute you're promoting the most attractive wrestlers in the universe, and then you bring ODB. I'm not even sure she's female, to be honest.
Well, let me say this though. Impact Wrestling, their YouTube channel, has SoCal Val has her own little segment. It's called Pillow Talk, and she did an interview with ODB, and I must warn you that after you watch this, you will have a sudden urge to jump in the shower and scrub from head to toe. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
I don't even know what SoCal Val's role, apart from occasionally she comes in and announces wrestlers. She's just a complete ginger Ming magnet. She's a minger. I don't know what she's doing there.
I think she did it at first.
Pretty.
I think she did it at first for a little while after they lost David Penzer. I don't know why. I mean, David Penzer was just as good as a ring announcer as Jeremy Borash. But
I mean, she's got the personality of an ant. She's got no charisma, no personality. She's not even nice looking. She's got ginger hair. I mean, if you've got ginger hair, it says enough. I mean, if I got ginger hair, I would kill myself. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Andy, come on, jeez. I mean, well, Christy Hemme has pretty much filled in the spot for ring announcing at the time, but Jeremy Borash is still doing the main events. But I will say this: Christy Hemme is one. Not only is she ginger, but she's nice to look at. But and two, she's kind of growing as a ring announcer in TNA, or Impact Wrestling as it was. So I really don't have a problem with her. Comedy segment coming up here, as we had Miss Tessmacher doing kind of poses, and then she stops and saying, "This isn't work. You don't even have a camera," when lo and behold, the person that was making her do it was Eric Young. Eric Young then decides that, like, hey, I'm going to show you how to do the poses, and then strips down to his briefs. I'm thinking, thank God, his Slim Jim and his two cherries didn't pop out of his underwear during this segment, and started posing. And then we had Gunner come in and just beat down the total crap out of Eric Young and takes the old TNA World Heavyweight title that Eric Young had. Because remember, the week before in the Battle Royal, Eric Young thought that he won a match against Gunner and took the TNA television title from him and ran. But and I'm going to say this: any segment we see Eric Young in, we know that it is going to be a comedic segment.
Well, of course, he's like, I wouldn't say like Santino, but the dude is very entertaining. Eugene, yeah. The guy is entertaining, so, of course, every time you see him on camera, he's going to do something funny, or you're just not going to help but laugh. But, yeah, I agree with you there, because he's sure charisma.
Yeah, but the last thing I needed to see was him strip down his underwear. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Are you sure about that?
Anyway, we had we were ending the show. Here's something interesting about all night during Impact Wrestling, as we only saw clips of somebody dressed in 1980s Sting attire. You know, the flashy jacket and the flashy tights and stuff like that. And then at the end of the show, we had Sting come out and want to thank RVD for the, or as I call him, Mr. Marijuana of wrestling, RVD, for the match he had at TNA Sacrifice. And next thing you know, when the lights turn out, we hear Sting's music, even though Sting is already out there. And then lights come back up, ECW style, go figure. And it was Ken Anderson with the face paint and the Sting, the 80s Sting attire, and he drops Sting with the Scorpion Death Drop. Rev Jake, what I found, you know, frightening about this one, I don't know if I want to call it frightening or not, but damn, Ken Anderson looked so much like Sting from the 80s.
Yeah, he did. I mean, that was a good look for Sting. I mean, Sting didn't even want to be a wrestler. He wanted to be a bodybuilder, but, like, that 80s look, and Ken Anderson pulled it off really good. Well, got to see what happens next.
Andy, what was your thoughts about that?
I agree with yourself and Jake. He pulled it off so well. I had to take a double take at the TV and thought they brought the 80s Sting back. I'm thinking to myself, God, he looks so much like the early Sting when he with Warrior, Ultimate Warrior. It was uncanny. It was really. If you've not seen it, I recommend you go on YouTube, look it out. If you didn't know, you'd think Sting had come back 20 years younger.
Overall opinion and thoughts about Impact Wrestling this week, guys, starting with you, Andy.
I would give it probably a 7 out of 10. Enjoyable, watchable, still lacking something, and I can't quite put my finger on what it's lacking. It's certainly not lacking talent.
Well, Rev Jake, final opinion about Impact Wrestling this week.
I think I like Impact Wrestling so much around October, like Halloween time. I'm going to Universal Studios for about 3 to 5 days. I'm going to go to wrestling.
Cool. WWE fan, what about you? What were your overall opinions about Impact Wrestling this week?
Pretty decent show. Just kind of.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I regret to inform everybody, I did not catch Friday Night SmackDown. I did catch a couple of things here that I do want to talk about before we go to break for the first hour. First thing I did notice is the fact that we had Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase back together, and I think that is just an incredibly good move on WWE's part. Ted DiBiase and Cody Rhodes work so well together. And speaking of someone who works well together, he is here on the line right now. It's Mr. Nick Bondage. Mr. Bondage, how you doing this week?
I am the man of the hour, the thrower of power, too sweet to be sour, funky like a monkey. Oh, yeah.
Hey, that was good, man. I got to give you...
That was awesome.
That was great, Mr. Bondage. Well, anyway, a couple of things we were going to address before we go to break this... for the first hour is what happened on Friday Night SmackDown. Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase have been paired together again on Friday Night SmackDown, and I believe, again, that is such a good move on WWE's part. I mean, look at the run they did as Legacy. They worked so well together, Legacy or Team Priceless or whatever you want to call it. They mattered more when they worked together than they ever have as two singles wrestlers. Cody Rhodes, not so much, ever since he got his big push at WrestleMania, courtesy of Rey Mysterio. But I believe they can go even further with this storyline now that they have both of these people back together. Mr. Bondage, would you agree with that?
I would totally agree with that, Billy Boudreaux. Yeah, around and around we go. Where we stop, only Elizabeth knows. Yeah.
Hey, Nick, do you have nipple clamps on to help change your voice?
Yeah. Reverend Ira Jake Slater, the man of the hour, my tag team partner, the man I most respect in the world. Yeah, because together, the mega powers, will run rampant over wrestling.
Hell yeah, brother.
Anyway, Chase, what are your thoughts about this? Again, Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase back together on Friday Night SmackDown.
Well, I actually think the reason they did this because obviously Ted DiBiase has not been doing a damn thing the past few months, which I hate it. So I'm glad WWE thought of this, put these two back together because, like you said, I really dig them as a tag team, and they really have great chemistry together. And as they run as tag team champions, as a tag team period, they were just awesome. So I'm glad WWE put these two back together.
Andy and WWE fan, I'm going to start with you first, but the question's going to go to the both of you. Andy, you first. Had they not made this move to have Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase back together on Friday Night SmackDown, could it be quite possible that WWE wouldn't see a use for Ted DiBiase and they would have canned him?
I think he was 99.9% gone. I don't know why, because of the two, I prefer him as a wrestler. I think he's better on the mic, but if they hadn't to team them up, I think he'd rather Golden Handshake and Good Night, and he'd been working on the independent scene, because I don't think TNA would have any place to offer for him either. So, in one respect, it saved his career. Whether it's a good move, I can never ever see the point of having a tag team, pushing them for a couple of months, splitting them up, and then putting them back together again. I just don't see the point in that.
WWE fan, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with Andy 100%.
All right, and the main event of Friday Night SmackDown, I was able to catch. It was Randy Orton and Mark Henry. And I will say this one, Randy Orton did get the win, but after, courtesy of Sheamus coming in and attacking. But I will say this, after Randy Orton scored the RKO on Mark Henry, the dude cut the biggest, I don't know if you call it jump split or whatever. I guess Randy Orton just wanted to show everybody, Chase, I guess Randy Orton wanted to show everybody his impersonation of the Spirit Squad. I didn't think the man was that flexible.
I've seen him jump pretty high at times during an RKO, but that was just like, damn. I wouldn't say the Spirit Squad, but it did kind of look like he jumped that high, though.
Yeah, I mean, Andy, you saw that too, right?
I certainly did. I'm not a Randy Orton fan, I must be honest, and I really don't know why they give him the push some of the times that they give him, because to me he's just a one-trick pony. I'm sick of seeing the same finish. I know it's his finishing move. I'm sick of seeing the same finisher, because he's the only person in wrestling, I don't know if Nick's listening, he's the only person in wrestling whose finisher move actually finishes people. If John Cena does his five-knuckle shuffle, he has to do it 4 times before they become unconscious. Randy Orton does the RKO off the middle rope and instantly won the match. Very few people kick out unless they name John Cena.
Well, let me ask this, Andy. Would you rather see a finishing move to actually finish someone, or would you rather see a finishing move almost finish someone?
I would, to me personally,
kind of a double-edged sword, if you ask me.
Yeah, I would rather see a finishing move finish somebody. Hence, that's why I would think it's called a finishing move. I think they should have moves that build up to a finisher, so they can get the crowd going, thinking, "Oh, he's coming up to it now." I don't think you should just whang your finisher and that's the end of the match. I think you should ramp the crowd up. I think that's what's lacking in wrestling. They're not bringing the crowd like on the roller coaster. They get you to the top of the hill and they don't drop down the other side. They stay at the top. They switch the engine off and stay at the top. And I think that's what's lacking.
I would definitely agree with you there. I do believe the finishing move should be the finish. Or if not, some type of swerve there at the finish. But I think here as of late, especially in the last 2 years, we've been so conditioned to see finishing moves just thrown in there in the mix and have people kick out of them that we've become so accustomed and used to seeing that when you do see a finishing move actually finish someone, you're like, what the hell? That's it?
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Karma will be out of the WWE for the rest of the year and a good part of 2012. Why? We'll tell you when we get back to WrestleDOWN, the discussion on wrestling now here on WGS Radio. Yes, Rev?
Can I give a hint at why she might get out?
Well, you know what? Let's let everybody stew upon that until we get back.
It has nothing to do with me, Rev. I didn't do it.
All right.
This is Scott Phoenix, and you're listening to WGS Radio, Blog Talk Radio.
I know.
That I got rug burn on my penis.
After what happened to his uncle Eddie Guerrero back in November.
While at a nature's preserve, beware of the granny waft.
I don't combine my liquor, or else I get a, bad case of Montezuma's revenge.
And that's why we call it Wrestling Talk with an Edge. It's The Rant, live every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern on Blog Talk Radio and Go Fight Live.
This is Team Cooch, and we're in WGS, the best running wrestling and gaming radio show ever, only on Blog Talk Radio. And if you don't like anything we say or do, 1, we respect your opinion. 2, fuck you.
This year, you'll hear artists like these on Rockin' Waves 11-2-94, Don Henley. Read and talk. The Rolling Stones. Frank Zappa.
Hey there, people, I'm Bobby Brown. They say I'm the cutest boy in town.
Yours truly, Fenwick Mouse. The hits old and new are being played all throughout 2011 on Rockin' Waves 11-2-94. Listen online every Friday from 1 to 5. Every Saturday from 10 p.m. until the party ends. Go to blogtv.com/people/Quizmaster1 to listen in on all the hilarity.
Hoodie in the blowsuit.
Hi, I'm Sonic Fanatic from Aurora Shock Media. What's Aurora Shock Media, you ask? Aurora Shock Media is a group of 6 people whose purpose is to give you quality entertainment in the latest and greatest video games, movies, music videos, and programs. We also provide awesome vlogs and crazy stunts. And because there's 6 of us, we're always coming out with something new. For more information about Aurora Shock Media, go to aurorashockmedia.weebly.com. That's aurorashockmedia.weebly.com. And while you're there, check out some of our cool videos.
Aurora Shock Media. It has begun.
Hi, this is the Mexican Giant speaking right here on WGS Radio on Blog Talk Radio.
And we are back to the second half of WrestleDOWN, the discussion on wrestling now on WGS Radio. I'm Double B Billy Boudreaux, being joined by the Iron Reverend Jake Slayer, Chase Matthews, Andy. Don't show too much enthusiasm, Chase.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm just tired right now, but I'm still happy to be on your show, Billy.
We're also joined by WWE fan and the one and only chair shot therapist himself, Dr. Nick Bondage, on the line. Now, as I said before we went to break, Karma is sidelined for the rest of the year and quite possibly a good part of 2012. And as Rev said, quite possibly thanks to Nick Bondage, as Karma is pregnant. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, as reported on WrestlingNewsSource.com is the place where I saw this news story. Apparently, Karma has been got pregnant. I believe it happened maybe about a week ago. And so it would explain the whole reason and the way they wrote her off on Monday Night Raw, which was highly unusual as we do turn. No, before we do that, we're going to go to WWE Over the Limit. But again, you know, we're going to talk more about it when we get to it. You know, the unusual way they wrote off Karma on Monday Night Raw. But let's turn to WWE Over the Limit here and talk about the card a little bit and, you know, get everybody's thoughts about it, as we had R-Truth and Rey Mysterio. Now, Andy, I know that, well, hold on, I believe we might have, I think this might be Trucker Jones, if I'm not mistaken. Trucker, is that you?
Yeah, it's me. What's going on?
What's going on, the Big Mother Trucker, ladies and gentlemen? This is the WGS Hardcore Superstar of the Year that we're talking to right here with Trucker Jones. We're going to go over WWE Over the Limit, Trucker. I know we got a lot to say about everything. On a side note, if you haven't heard yet, Karma was sidelined for the rest of the year and quite possibly a good chunk of 2012 because she is pregnant.
Nick Bondage, I told you not to mess with that girl.
Well, on a serious note, let me ask y'all this. You know, could it be, you know, is it, you know, fortunate/unfortunate timing for Karma to get pregnant just when she was just getting into the WWE? Nick Bondage, what do you think?
Any opportunity to get with a man, I don't think there's any such thing as bad timing for her. I told Mark Henry that he needs to wrap it. But when does anybody ever listen to me?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but I think, again, it's just like fortunate/unfortunate timing. I'm not going to question her decision, but the fact that she was just getting started in the WWE, which is, quote, the big time in wrestling, and the fact that now she's going to be gone for the rest of the year because of her pregnancy, you know, just when we were getting introduced to the Karma character and the way they were going to present her, Trucker Jones, I believe it's just, you know, again, fortunate/unfortunate timing on her part.
Well, that's what happens when you party too much.
Especially with Nick Bondage.
It's definitely unfortunate, though, all seriousness. It is unfortunate. Like you said, Billy, we just got introduced to the character, and now she's going to be on hiatus, and everybody's going to be like, from who? You know, 9 months from now. The people that are just now being introduced to her who weren't already familiar with her in TNA.
All right, the first matchup we had at WWE Over the Limit Sunday night was R-Truth and Rey Mysterio. Now, I know WWE originally planned on having John Morrison in this match, but due to the pinched nerve that he suffered, you know, they had to take him out so he can have surgery to repair the damage, and I believe that he's going to be back, I believe, in time for the July pay-per-view, which is going to be Money in the Bank, if I'm not mistaken, because they already have some posters out with John Morrison on the poster, so apparently they expect to have him back for that pay-per-view. But, you know, if Rey Mysterio knows how to do a couple of things in WWE, one, he knows how to cry himself a frickin' river just to get himself over, but two, he knows how to make people look good. And he really did do that in this match with R-Truth. He really gave him a shot to look good. And, you know, Sunday night, I originally thought it was going to be Rey Mysterio going over on R-Truth, but, you know, I believe it was a good move to have R-Truth go over on Mysterio this time, Andy, because, again, it adds to R-Truth's heel character, and it helps pursue the fact that, you know, he doesn't like the fans, and he wants to do things that the fans will hate, and one of the things that fans hate, especially the kids out there, is seeing one of their idols, Rey Mysterio, get beat.
Yeah, I don't know if it works well. I mean, I know we'll probably be talking about the pay-per-view and what went on there, but I found it I'll just refer to the pay-per-view in this angle. I found on the pay-per-view when The Miz was insulting the child, who was probably a plant anyway, but insulting the child in the audience, I found that very awkward to watch. When they resort to getting fans involved in people's matches or insulting fans, I think then it becomes a bit out of hand, because I know there's this unwritten rule wrestlers don't take people outside the ring, but that doesn't mean some irate fan is going to clout one. I know wrestlers can look after themselves, but when they're not expecting a fan to spark them, I think it could incite trouble. I think one day a wrestler could go up to a fan member, rip their poster up, and be greeted with a left hook. And I don't know where it would go from there, to be honest. And I think that's what he's heading for. He's going to alienate the fans. Somebody will.
In the Intercontinental...
Meet him in a pub or something. Somebody will probably meet him in a pub one night, take offence to what he's done or said, and just belt him while he's out of the ring, and then his career could go down the toilet. So I think picking at fans as a heel is not bad, but when you go down the route that you're going to really dig at fans and get under their skin, that's when you've gone too far.
And there's a word for that type of fan that's called mark. Mark. Anyway, in the Intercontinental title match, Wade Barrett took on Ezekiel Jackson. Ezekiel Jackson got the win when, of course, in a very predictable fashion, the cord, Justin Gabriel, and the Wendy's girl, Heath Slater, interfered on Wade Barrett's behalf. You know, again, very predictable. Andy, I want to ask you, what were your thoughts on the Sin Cara Chavo match?
Chavo deserves a better opponent than he's getting. That's all I can say. I'm not a Sin Cara fan. All I can see with him is...
Well, let me ask you this, then.
Mr. Botchamania himself.
Well, let me ask you this. In all honesty, other than the Royal Rumble, which happened earlier this year, when's the last time we've seen Chavo in a pay-per-view?
I can't remember. And he's exactly. A good talent gone to waste.
Exactly my point here. Another thing we're going to point out, especially when we get to talking about Monday Night Raw, is Big Show and Kane defended the tag team titles successfully against CM Punk and Mace Ryan. We had Brie Bella take on Kelly. Again, nobody could honestly care. So then we had Randy Orton and Christian. Now, I know it was a good match, Andy. It was a good match between these two. I know a lot of the fans out there are not very happy with the outcome. I know a lot of the YouTube shooters and the internet marks and the forum writers out there really wanted to see Christian come away with the World Heavyweight title.
I can't see it. I think, I said this before, I think Christian was given the title as a thank you to Edge, or as a present to Edge. I can't see Christian getting the title for at least another 12 months. I don't think he's up there, but I don't think he's got the they call it Captain Charisma. He hasn't got no charisma. His mic skills are terrible. To me, he will always be a mid-carder. He's not a main player. I don't know why. I love the guy to death. I think he's got fantastic in-ring skills. But I don't sort of watch him and think, if I was Vince McMahon, I'd get rid of John Cena and make him my number one guy. Just anything happen. I just don't see it at all. I don't know what it is about him, but I just don't see it in the guy at all. I don't see him.
And right now, I would like to say a personal thank you to the WWE for finally killing off the storyline between Jerry Lawler and Michael Cole. The Kiss My Foot match was, well, let's say this. Michael Cole tried to fake his way out of the match with saying that he had a doctor's note that his athlete's foot was too contagious. And Andy, I would think maybe about a minute and a half, 2-minute match between these two. Jerry Lawler got the win. Now, here's what was the great part about this. Really liked it because, you know, I, for one, I'm not a big fan of the storyline, but I'm also a big fan for seeing Michael Cole getting his ass whooped in a public forum, or in any public forum for that matter. Had Eve Torres and Jim Ross come out. I believe Eve Torres did a moonsault on Michael Cole, and then we had Jim Ross pour barbecue sauce all over Cole. And then at that point, I believe Michael Cole has scurried out of the ring saying, you know, I'm not going to kiss your foot, Jerry Lawler. When lo and behold, Bret the Hitman Hart comes out of nowhere from behind, grabs Michael Cole, throws him back into the ring, puts him in the sharpshooter, and makes him kiss Jerry Lawler's foot. Thank you, WWE, for showing us that you can finally kill off the storyline in a good fashion and in a very funny way, because anytime Michael Cole gets hurt, it's funny to us, right, Andy?
Yeah, I think a good thing as well, I mean, I agree with what you've just said, but a good thing is, when the WWE need to pull something out of the bag, they certainly know how to pull it out of the bag. And I'm a big wrestling fan, as you'll probably tell. I never saw anything on the internet forums that Bret Hart was going to show up that night, and I was pretty much marked out. I was like, yes, he's back. So 10 out of 10 for Vince or whoever the writer was for bringing him back just for that one spot. Totally out of the blue. Never saw it coming.
Rev, questioning you, were you shocked, literally shocked, when you heard about the return of Bret the Hitman Hart and what he did at Over the Limit?
No. Can you hear me right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, good. No, I wasn't shocked at all. I mean, it's always good to see Bret Hart. And, you know, you can't complain about getting Michael Cole. I'm glad the whole thing's over. You know, so it was, you know, it was a good deal. You know, I was happy with it. But on another thought, when you were talking about Sin Cara, I don't think he showed up to mow my lawn today. And I still think Cody Rhodes got butt-buggered by Pat Patterson, but that's just my opinion.
Main event time, as it was John Cena taking on The Miz for the WWE title in an I Quit match. Now, here's something I mentioned on Sunday's program, and it did come to fruition, that this a situation that was going to totally reek of The Rock and Mankind 1999 Royal Rumble when they piped over the speakers of the auditorium a recorded version of Mankind saying, I quit, I quit, I quit. They tried to pull this off in the John Cena and The Miz match with Alex Riley holding up a phone that had a recording of John Cena saying, I quit, when John Cena was I believe, stuck in a security railing, and Alex Riley stood in front of John Cena so we couldn't hear him talk. I mean, again, Andy, when I saw that, I just kind of knew it was going to happen, but I didn't expect the referee to, to find out that it was a trick and restart the match.
No, I was totally sold on that one. We all knew what was going to happen, and it did happen. And the referee come to his senses. Good old Mike Chioda. Good referee. Can't fault the guy. The only thing I was disappointed was the amount of stick that John Cena took throughout the match. I think The Miz has lost a lot of credibility because he took about 6 whacks with a leather belt and then cried, I quit, I quit. Within 3 minutes of being attacked, he quit. Cena, I don't know how long the match was, 35 minutes. For 30 minutes, Cena was in the wars. Super Cena wins again because The Miz can't take any crap. And yet, I've really thought when he was holding the title, he was doing a good job, but they've basically made him look a wimp. I'm sorry, they've ruined his character. He might have all the charisma, he might have the mic skills, but that match has just made The Miz look a complete wimp. For just to be put in the STF and whipped 5 times with a leather belt and you submit, you give in, nice. He's got nothing at all. His career, as I think, after that match, going down the toilet. Back to square one.
Final rundown of the pay-per-view, ladies and gentlemen. R-Truth defeated Rey Mysterio. Ezekiel Jackson defeated Wade Barrett by disqualification. Sin Cara defeated Chavo Guerrero. Big Show and Kane defeated CM Punk and Mason Ryan to retain the tag team titles. Brie Bella defeated Kelly Kelly to retain the Divas title. I totally disagree with that, but that's for another show. Randy Orton defeated Christian to retain his title. Jerry the King Lawler defeated Michael Cole in the Kiss My Foot match. And John Cena defeated The Miz in the I Quit match to retain the WWE title. Final thoughts on the pay-per-view, starting with Chase Matthews.
It was a decent show. It wasn't nothing special or spectacular, but, I actually thought the ending to the Miz-Cena match was absolute bullcrap. I mean, the writers letting Cena be Super Cena again is the same old shit. And I kind of agree with Andy. They kind of did make Miz looked like a wimp, so Cena can look like Superman. But overall, it was decent. It was okay.
Okay, Trucker Jones, any thoughts on WWE Over the Limit?
It was probably one of the most boring pay-per-views I've seen this year. I mean, I didn't find it was that great. All the matches in general, you might have had maybe one or two that was okay, and everything else was just crap.
All right, Andy, overall opinion on WWE Over the Limit?
I'd give it 2 out of 10. Like the other guy just said, my problem is, and I'll throw it open to the other guys because I know we've still got a bit of time left. In 10, 15 years ago, a pay-per-view got you hyped up, you wanted to watch it, you always knew you got a good deal. It was probably the best wrestling of the year, highlight of the evening. To me now, pay-per-views are just watching Raw and SmackDown. There's no like big build-up matches. There isn't enough time between the pay-per-views to build up a feud or build up a match. And the wrestling performances from the wrestlers is the same as watching Raw and SmackDown. There's no like upper echelons, whatever the word is. The only time that you really get hyped up about a pay-per-view is WrestleMania. The others are just, another pay-per-view this week. Great.
You want to know one of the main reasons why that is, Andy?
Yeah,
it's because WrestleMania is advertised and hyped up every bit of a good 6 months before the actual event. Now, if you remember back in the old days when they used to only have 4 major pay-per-views a year, you had 3 months worth of build-up. Now, this pay-per-view every month, you only get 4 weeks. Now, if you think about it, sure, 4 weeks sounds like a long time, but you've only got 2 shows a week. So technically, you only have every bit of 3 shows to build that angle. 3 times of being in the ring to build that angle up for the pay-per-view. In my opinion, that's just not enough time.
Yeah.
And people are just now getting used to the fact that Randy Orton wants to face Mark Henry in the next pay-per-view, if that be the case, and you only have 3 weeks to get it done and tell the story and bring it to a head. To me, that's just not enough time. In my opinion, I think they should go back maybe a little bit more than 4 major pay-per-views a year. I would say 6. And that would be sufficient. That would give people enough time to build up storylines and then make them wait for it, because it's the anticipation that makes people want to watch it, tune in, and view it.
Yeah, I think it's like anything. You can have too much. You can have too much of a good thing, and when you have this good thing every month for a year, minimum 12 times a year, you get a bit bored. So you've got to make the audience, the crowd, the fans, call them what you will, to wait for it. And it's the wait that makes it worth the wait, because you're all hyped up and waiting to see what the outcome is, and the build-up time, like you say, is just far too short. You can't do it in such a short time. I agree with what Nick's just said. They're killing their own industry by giving us too much, too often.
WWE fan, your final thoughts, your overall opinion on WWE Over the Limit?
It was a pretty good pay-per-view, and Alex Riley again dropped the ball.
Yeah, but something big did turn from that, as we're looking at Monday Night Raw now.
I have a question though about Over the Limit, please.
Sure.
Why did they call it Over the Limit? Did they reach a limit? Was there? I reached my fucking limit with it, but it's like the whole damn thing just sucked one big multi-moose dick.
I think everybody reached their limit with the Jerry Lawler Michael Cole storyline. I'll tell you that.
Words of wisdom again, from the Reverend.
Yeah, well, no, it's like, Rey Mysterio at a pay-per-view. Shit. Wait, no, I forgot. Weren't we talking about Jeff Jarrett and Kurt Angle? What? I'm confused. Shit. Hey, Nick, this is good weed, man.
Wow.
All right. Anyway, we're going to take a look at Monday Night Raw here, and a couple of things we need to talk about. One, before the matchup, it was Big Show and Kane defending the tag team titles against Michael McGillicuddy and David Otunga. Trust me, I got a major opinion about that. But before the match started, apparently Big Show and Kane were... Apparently Big Show was sitting on a car backstage, and one thing I'm going to say about that is I feel very bad for Roberto Del Rio's car. He must have been screaming in agony, and I'm pretty sure if Big Show would have farted on that car, it would cease to exist right now. But anyway, apparently, first Ricardo Rodriguez took offense to it, and Big Show just palm-faced him out of the way, and then Roberto Del Rio just started saying something in Spanish, and the only thing I could think of at the time was Roberto Del Rio translating, "Welcome to Taco Bell. Can I take your order?" Anyway, it was an interesting match, but here is this is what happened in the match. Big Show and Kane lost the titles due to, the referee was down, CM Punk interfered, and then Michael McGillicuddy and David Otunga hit a double DDT and pinned the Big Show. Michael McGillicuddy and David Otunga are your new tag team champions. Think about this scenario. Just the previous night, you had CM Punk and Mason Ryan on a pay-per-view. They lost. Then you had David B-List frickin' Otunga and Michael McGillicuddy, I live by my daddy's name, which is Kurt Hennig, as your new tag team champions. I'll take that back. I actually have a little bit more respect for Michael McGillicuddy than I do David B-List Otunga. The only reason why he has a job in the WWE is because he's fucking somebody famous. That's all I got to say about that. But, seriously, the tag team division in mainstream wrestling, as I said before, a few weeks ago, and especially as of lately on my WGS YouTube channel, is dead, and it's just an embarrassment. I mean, we all thought it was an embarrassment when Santino Marella and Vladimir Kozlov were tag team champions. Look what we got now: David B-List Otunga and Michael McGillicuddy. I mean, seriously.
Well, Billy, this goes kind of back to what we were talking about last week, so not to interject myself, but I think at this time we really need to have solidified tag teams like we had in the late 70s and 80s who reigned over the wrestling industry. I mean, we need a Hart Foundation. We need another Midnight Express, Rock and Roll Express. The Road Warriors. We need a tag team, solidified tag teams like that to carry those titles to make them even mean anything. Because if not, then you'll just have this hodgepodge guy mixed with this hodgepodge guy, and then you got tag team champions, which, I couldn't give two squirts of piss for, which is one of the reasons why I'm glad to see Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase back together. Now, whether they go back to their legacy type tag matches is, still yet to be determined, but I'm glad to see that. And we need to see more of that because that's what's going to carry the other half of each and every show. You'll have your main listers, and then you'll have your tag teams.
The Iron Reverend Rev Jake Slayer, your thoughts about Big Show and Kane losing the tag titles to Michael McGillicuddy and David Otunga on Monday Night Raw?
Well, it's just fucking ridiculous. I mean, like Nick said, they don't really have tag teams anymore. They're like the Road Warriors. They're like my top favorite tag team. But, Nick, we need to pick an entrance theme for Homicide Incorporated because we're going to be the next tag team.
Well, anyway, after the match was over, we had a Big Show and Kane doing an interview when Alberto Del Rio slaps the Big Show. Big Show chases after him, knocking a camera guy over. Trust me, if you ever see a guy the size of Big Show running at you or at somebody behind you, get the fuck out of the way. But anyway, the camera guy knocked around, and then next thing you know, the camera guy turns up, and then we see Big Show on the floor and Alberto Del Rio's car right next to him. And let's just say this, size-wise, the bumper of the car, Big Show's leg is bigger than the bumper of the car on Alberto Del Rio's car. But here's the reason. Here's the situation that I find a whole reason why they did that. It's been reported that Big Show at a house show actually might have injured his knee, and the whole reason as to why they did this was to give him a chance to rest and get him a chance to make sure that his knee isn't fully injured. So, well, here's the story here, right here. It was actually at a SmackDown taping from Corpus Christi in Texas. Apparently, he had landed awkwardly during an angle he was doing with the core in Ezekiel Jackson, and he was reportedly in a good bit of pain. So that could be the whole reason why they did that, to give him a chance to rest and heal up, maybe.
See, to me, that doesn't make any sense. Why not make that part of the storyline? I mean, people felt bad for Kerry Von Erich whenever he had a legitimate injury because they announced it, and then his tag partner, David Von Erich, would have to choose another partner to help carry on the tag team titles. And people would pull for Kerry. Kerry, we want you back. We want you to get healed up. We need you back. You need to be David's partner. And then you have David have a temporary partner who almost loses the titles a couple of times, because Kevin's not there with him, and it doesn't make any damn sense to cover this up and keep it backstage where, Big Show has an injury. Why not let people know he's got an injury? He's going to be out. Kane, he's got to carry the titles by himself. It just makes more drama for the show. Do you not agree with that?
Guys on the line, do you all agree with that?
Agree.
Yeah, I
agree
with you, Nick.
I agree.
It's stupid. It's asinine, Drop the titles to, like Billy said, a couple B-listers because Big Show can't compete, oh, okay, let's take a big crap right there on the titles.
Well, I agree with Nick, but don't they technically have 30 days to defend their title before they have to vacate them?
Yeah, absolutely, and why that rule is not in effect anymore is beyond me.
Well, they could have said Big Show fell down, went boom, can't wrestle, at the end of 30 days, if he doesn't defend the titles, then they lose him, and everybody be rooting for him.
Yeah, exactly.
They've been getting a lot of pops on Twitter and Facebook, and, but it's like, you're right. It's like, why did they drop the titles to them? And why couldn't it have been like a disqualification where they kept the belts? Something like that.
All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, pretend that this happened before we knew the knowledge of Nick Bondage knocking up Karma. Just when we figured out the whole character bit of Karma, where she's the badass that comes out and just beats all the divas up, we see her come out in the middle of an 8 divas tag match, which, by the way, thank God they stopped within the first minute and a half. I mean, come on. Anyway, side note, Melina was in that match, so it was good to see Melina being used for once in about, 4 or 5 months. Anyway, Karma comes out, the divas circle her, then at first it looks like she was saying to bring it on, then the next thing we know, she gets down on her knees and starts crying.
Lord.
She starts crying and has a nervous breakdown, because I think, Nick, you broke up with her that night, Nick. But anyway, like you said, Roger, when you think we knew the Karma character, WWE throws a curveball and apparently they're going to write her off with her having a nervous breakdown.
Knocking girls up and
you're
breaking hearts. That's what I do the best.
No, Nick, now that you're having a baby with Karma, can I get ODB's phone number?
Billy, please give this man the phone number.
I definitely will. When we get a chance here, probably when we go off the air tonight, I'll give him your phone number.
But,
okay.
No, like Andy was mentioning once before about Karma, it's like, how, good of a diva is she going to be? Who are they going to find to face her anyway? I mean, Beth Phoenix. Look what happened to ODB against, Karma, or whatever it was back then, Awesome Kong. So, who are they really going to, if they put the belt on her, who's she going to lose it to? Taylor Wilde?
Anyway, again, this is, before we had the knowledge of Karma being pregnant, Chase Matthews, what was your whole take on what they were doing with her and the way they wrote her off on Monday Night Raw, having the nervous breakdown?
Well, honestly, I was speechless, and I thought to myself, well, that's typical WWE creative for you. But when I found out that she was pregnant by Nick Bondage, By the way, Nick, did you get lost in that?
Oh my God!
Anyway, no, people gotta be nice to Nick. Nick is my favorite man whore. I wish I was more like Nick.
Anyway, but when I found out she was pregnant, I understood it more. I mean, but just the angle was just weird, But it's a weird way to write her off, But at least it's for a legitimate reason. So.
I know she's wanting to protect her baby, but you could have easily, with Karma, gone 6 months, and you would never even have known that she was pregnant.
Anyway, another segment that happened on Monday Night Raw is Miz came out and asked the anonymous Raw general manager for another match with John Cena for the WWE title, and Raw general manager said, "No way, you had your chance, you didn't get the job done." And then next thing we know, Miz turned on Alex Riley and fires him. Then finally, after all this time, we finally see some good emotion and good stuff out of Alex Riley as he flipped and the utter shit out of the Miz on Monday Night Raw. About time, Andy. About time we see something out of this kid, huh?
Yeah. Just getting back to the Awesome Kong. Karma, whatever you want to call her. I know there's a lot of talk about it on the internet, but is it officially confirmed that she's pregnant, or is it just supposedly another way of the WWE of saying we don't want it?
It's confirmed because she failed the wellness test because she got pregnant.
Yeah, it strikes me, like I said to you months and months ago, who is she going to fight? I think the WWE, more to the truth, have got cold feet and thought, what are we going to do with her? Let's find a way of getting in.
Well, Andy, considering the fact that the Diva division in the WWE is basically, essentially dead. They need to bring someone in to liven it up.
Yeah, but it's like, no, I mean, I don't know. I can only see what I've seen on YouTube videos, but that would be like saying, let's have Kane, Undertaker, Big Show, Abyss, for example, fighting Nick Bondage for the rest of his career. It's not going to happen. If you see, she's too big for the Divas. She is too. Unfortunately, yes, she's a very good wrestler. And they need to find wrestlers her size and build for them to fight. If I was Callie, with the clout that she seems to have in the WWE, because she's got no talent, so she's obviously banging somebody somewhere, I would turn around and say, if you think I'm putting my £250,000 a year job on the line to fight her, you've got another thing coming.
I agree with Andy there. I mean, it's almost like killing a mosquito with a bazooka. You know, I mean, in a way, I almost feel bad for all the really big stars like Big Show and Kane and Awesome Kong, because ultimately, once they go through their little spiel with the few people that they can work with, like Big Khali, then what do you do with them? You have them fight Rey Mysterio,
dress them as fairies.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Or dress them as fairies, or downsize their characters and gimmicks to help get them over in the meantime until you do figure something out for them. I mean, it's really a career killer almost.
Well, I was thinking though, when Karma comes back, maybe they'll bring Nicole Bass back too.
Oh, God.
If they do, Nick will sleep with her, too, so it'll be all right.
I've already got a restraining order against Nicole.
That's one ugly woman, my gosh.
Well, Trucker Jones, I have a question for you. With the flip out of Alex Riley and the beatdown of The Miz, where did they go with Alex Riley from here?
I'm not sure. Maybe they might do an angle with Alex Riley and The Miz, which would be crap against crap, because, I mean, there's nothing really The Miz ever did impress me. I still think John Morrison put him over in the tag team of them two together. And as far as Alex Riley, he never brought anything to the table. I never seen him wrestle a good match, period.
We have a caller on line 3. Trucker, I hate to interrupt you. We have a caller on line 3 from the 502 area code. What's your name and where are you from?
Gooch.
Oh, hey, Mick, you're not on your Skype, dude. Hey, oh.
It said it was full from the one number, and it said I had to use Skype credit to call this one. So
well, the thing is, I had to discontinue the other number because it was costing me too much money.
Okay.
All right, but anyway, Trucker, again, back to what you were saying.
Like I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted.
I apologize.
I never seen anything impressive from Alex Riley. He never impressed me at all. Neither did the Miz, but then again, I guess whoever blows Vince McMahon the best gets the better spot.
Well, I think as far as Alex Riley goes, I think we have yet to see his best persona, best match, best wrestling ability. I think he'd be more suited for maybe contending and going after either the United States title or even possibly after he gets built up a little bit more wrestling-wise. Character-wise, I think he's right where he needs to be, but wrestler-wise, I could even see him going after the Intercontinental Championship, possibly.
Hey, all right, Mick, my question to you is, what was your take on the Miz Alex Riley segment that happened on Monday Night Raw, and where do they go with it, especially with Alex Riley from here?
Well, I didn't watch it, but I heard that there was a turn, and I think good could come with this.
Yeah, Alex Riley turned and beat the crap out of the Miz on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, I heard about it. I just didn't get to see it because I had things going on.
But now knowing that information, where do they take Alex Riley from here? I mean, what can they do with him?
I don't know.
They're obviously going to have feuds now with him and Miz. See it coming. It's written on the cards. Big feuds.
WWE fan, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do.
Well, after building him up the way that they have with The Miz, I mean, it would be pointless to drop him way down on a card, you know, down to the B-listers list. But then again, why not have him face guys who were coming into the WWE about the same time that he was, like your David Otungas and your McGillicuddies and some of the other NXT guys.
I think they should give him the push that they're giving Wade Barrett, because Wade Barrett's just not gelling with the audience.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. That's my honest opinion. I don't know what it is. I just can't take to Wade Barrett. Friends that I speak to regarding wrestling in the UK, we're all under the same assumption. He's had pushes after pushes after pushes. He ain't gelling with the audience. No one knows what he is. Is he a heel? Is he a face? Is he both?
Well,
Nobody can sort of
let me
get
ask
to
you this real quick, Ashley. Did he gel? I'm sorry, Andy. Did he gel a little bit more with you when he was doing his thing with John Cena, when he was like the cream of the crop, rise to the top type guy?
Yes.
Yeah. See, that's the point. You push him to the highest point, to the top of the mountain, and then from there you drop him back down to the base of the mountain. You know, I mean, why?
Yeah.
You know,
he's like you say, he's been there, and they're dropping him back down again, and it's done him no favors.
No. It would be like watching John Cena. Yeah, it would be like watching John Cena go after the United States Championship. It doesn't make any sense. You know, which is why, in my opinion, you need to keep guys in their division and keep them there, and don't move them up and then move them back down and back up and back down, and keep them there.
My personal opinion, as much as I hated Nexus, I think he should have stayed with the leader of Nexus and had them as tag teams, like in the NWO days. That's my personal opinion. I don't think he should have broke away as a single wrestler. He should have stuck as a group where they could have had 2 or 3 tag teams out of that group and probably dominated the tag division.
Absolutely. And giving each one of the NXT or the Nexus members an opportunity to be a tag team champion with him, you know, and then they would fail and they would lose the titles. Okay, you didn't cut the mustard. Now let me get another guy from Nexus to come up and then win the titles again and then lose them and then you give another, you know, it just, I don't know, it makes more sense to me.
Yeah, it'd push all the people that were in Nexus, give them all a chance of a bit of limelight, and it'd also help him to decide who he wanted to keep at the end as his tag team partner, because I just, unfortunately, I don't see him as a singles wrestler. I don't think he's got the ring ability to be a singles wrestler. There's something lacking in the guy. Not sure what it is, but he strikes me as like looking at Devon and Bubba. Brilliant tag team, crap on their own.
Well, if you look at him, like promo-wise and in-ring ability, he's almost 2 different people, right?
Yeah.
In my opinion, his promo skills are better than his in-ring ability, because when I see his in-ring ability, he's one of those kind of cheap heels, right? He's very cheap and gets whatever he can get, kind of, instead of making what he can get, you know, instead of working for it.
Yeah.
You know.
WWE paying tribute to the late Macho Man Randy Savage on this Monday Night Raw. What a very nice video package honoring Randy Savage. I believe everybody would agree with that, more or less, whether how you feel about Macho Man or not. That was still a very nice video package.
Oh, yeah.
But not everybody was happy about it, as a former WWE creative team writer, Christopher DeJoseph, also known as Big Dick Johnson, he was not very happy about it, as he wrote the following on his Twitter. Vince is steaming watching this Macho Man package. Only in death Macho Man was allowed back on WWE television. Such a shame. Such hypocrisy makes me sick. I was always told never to mention the name Macho Man ever. We pitched Macho Man, and then we were told never to mention his name again because it was, quote, personal. And we would probably think, you know, to this day that we'll never know what the personal thing means. But anyway, it was still a great video package. Another person who paid tribute to Macho Man Randy Savage on Monday Night Raw was CM Punk. In fact, in the ring attire he wore, right, Mr. Nick Bondage?
Absolutely.
Yes, he wore the pink tights with the stars, the yellow knee pads, and the white boots. Somewhat similar to the ring attire that Macho Man Randy Savage wore, I believe, at WrestleMania 4, if I'm mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, in the finals match he had with $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase for the then known as the World Wrestling Federation Championship. But I thought that was a great move by CM Punk to honor Macho Man. I thought that was really, really good. Another person that was honoring him in his own way was Rey Mysterio, because he did work with Randy Savage in WCW. He was dressed head to toe in black, you know, black mask, black elbow pads, black everything. Mick, don't go there when I say black. Anyway, final rundown of the Monday Night Raw card. We had Michael McGillicuddy and David Otunga defeating Big Show and Kane for the tag titles. Then we had Alberto Del Rio and Big Show with the car incident. Jack Swagger defeating Evan Bourne in a pretty much pointless match. Then we had Alex Riley beating the shit out of Miz. Karma breaking down in the middle of the ring. Kofi Kingston and Drew McIntyre in a fantastic match. Kofi Kingston got the win. And then in the main event, John Cena and Rey Mysterio defeated CM Punk and R-Truth, courtesy, with a big assist to the special guest referee, Bret the Hitman Hart, and the sharpshooter that he put on CM Punk. Final overall thoughts on Monday Night Raw. Mick, I know you didn't watch it, so Rev, I'm going to start with you. Overall thoughts on Monday Night Raw.
This is really good fucking weed, dudes. My final thoughts on Monday Night Raw. What you gonna do, GCW, with Nick Bondage and the Iron Reverend Jake Slayer? Homicide Incorporated. Rain down hell on you in the rest of Louisiana.
Well put.
That's what. That, and it's really good weed. Oh, I do have pants on, but I'm not wearing underwear, so it's kind of like...
All right. Anyway, let's just get. Let me do this to get a reaction out of Mick. Mick, if you haven't heard yet, Karma is going to be gone for the rest of the year, thanks to Nick Bondage.
Gary.
No, for real. For real. Karma is going to be gone because she is pregnant. I think Mick just threw up.
Oh.
Anyway, Mr. Bondage, overall opinion on Monday Night Raw?
You know, I tried to pull it off and tie the knot, and I told Karma, I said, if he can get out of there, we'll call him Houdini.
Oh, God.
Opinions on Monday Night Raw. I just caught the highlights. Oh, man, it was a rough week. I would give it a 2 out of 10. You know, it was really, I just was not impressed. SmackDown was way better, in my opinion. There was a few good matches, but Raw was just very lacking, left me wanting to either turn the channel or for something spectacular to happen, which left me wanting for something that never would come.
All right, Andy, overall opinion on Monday Night Raw?
I agree with Nick. I'd give it I'd give it 2 out of 10, and the reason I give it such a low score, something to think about. It came on. They did a 10-second splash on the screen of Randy Savage. The program started, no mention of the guy, and I thought, is that all this guy's worth? And I was not happy. And it took 1 hour 45 minutes of the program to suddenly stop and then decide to play a Macho Man segment, which should have been at the beginning of the program, which makes me think Vince didn't want it to go out, full stop, but it went out anyway. But 1 hour 43 minutes, it was exactly 1 hour 43 minutes. I was sitting there fuming, thinking, is that all Randy Savage is worth? 10-second photograph on the screen. And it spoilt my enjoyment of Raw for that one segment. Really bad. Bad organisation on somebody's part. And I think at the last minute, they probably sensed in the crowd that we're going to have to put this Randy Savage package that we've put together on, whether Vince likes it or not. I think it was done by the production people. They slid it in the show. I really think that.
It was an absolute travesty, wasn't it? I mean,
yeah.
Really. I mean, I was glad that they did something. Something is better than nothing. But yeah. I agree with Ashley. I mean, it was just terrible, terrible. It was in poor taste, and it, it just left me, really at a with WWE.
I'm really surprised they didn't show the bed scenes with Stephanie. Oh, get a step.
They showed this picture in the beginning. They didn't do the ring bell thing, did they? Like they do for everyone
They
else.
absolutely ignored it. They just put a picture, rest in peace, 10 seconds, the show started as though nothing had happened.
Yeah, because normally when somebody passes away and they put their picture up there, they do the ring bell for 3 times?
Yeah.
They didn't do that this time.
Did absolutely nothing. I was not happy at all watching the program. It spoilt the enjoyment of the show, to be honest.
I mean, I'm not going to speak ill of the dead. I have my issues with the Macho Man, but he did help make the WWE and Hulk Hogan to it is today. No doubt. You can't say anything bad about his in-ring and his mic skills. No, he was the WWE superstar. They need more people. Yeah.
And the worst part about it is now, because of this, now Vince will put out the Macho Man DVD set, and then not only that, then as an insult, he'll be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Only because he passed.
Chase Matthews, final thoughts on Monday Night Raw?
Well, honestly, the whole show I thought was, not really great, but I did enjoy getting the piss kicked out of him. But I thought the Macho Man video was well done, and it's like Bondage said, it would come off as somewhat of an insult, inducting Macho Man just because he passed away. But the show was...
Well, you know what? I would find a bigger insult is if they didn't do a tribute to him.
Yeah, that too. It's either way you look at it. I mean, I think he should have been inducted a long time ago.
He should have been one of the first ones inducted.
Exactly. And, Billy, I apologize for getting disconnected. All that talk about Karma and Nick Bondage having sex, it got me thinking. So I had to leave for a while.
It's all right as we turn to WWE fan and get his thoughts on Monday Night Raw.
Okay, Monday Night Raw got us 3 out of 5, I guess. This one thing also got me fuming. Can someone please tell me why in the world, not to criticize it, but why did they show the President of the United States in a promo on Monday Night Raw?
I believe the only reason why he did that is to, put over the next pay-per-view, which is Capital Punishment, which is gonna. It looks absolutely ridiculous. Barack Obama showing up at an actual WWE event. Yeah, our President of the United States is gonna take a time out to watch 2 men in their underwear fighting each other.
Hey.
You do, Bill.
Did Chase Matthews...
Do not talk about that, Reverend.
Oh, no. I think Chase Matthews just said he went and wanked off while he was thinking about Bondage and Karma. I'm pretty sure that's what he said.
I said all that talk about Karma and Nick Bondage had me thinking I had to disconnect, if you know what I mean.
Anyway, it's time for the final thoughts of the week. Roderick, starting with you, your final thoughts of the week.
I think my final thoughts of the week are tomorrow night, Thursday, Impact. Join Billy Boudreau and the rest of the WGS team as he streams. What are they calling it now? TNA Impact something?
Impact Wrestling.
And the rest of us, live on Blog TV. Bong, bong.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, he's the leader of Team Goot. Oh, my God! Mick37, Mick, your final thoughts of the week.
Well, I didn't watch much of this week, but the parts I did watch, I was okay with. So,
all right, go ahead.
That's about all.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, he's the king of his own double-wide trailer, Chase Matthews, with his final thoughts of the week.
Well, besides Macho Man, the video of Macho Man, that was really the only memorable thing. Plus, I didn't see it, but I'm going to go check out when Mr. Anderson was dressed like the 80s thing. So I'm going to go check that out.
All right, we're going to turn to Andy and get his final thoughts of the week.
Didn't think it was a very good week for wrestling in general. Highlight, although it's not a very good choice of words, was the Macho Man segment that they did on WWE. Of all the programs I did watch, I would say TNA or Impact was probably the best of the bunch.
And let's go to the WWE fan with his final thoughts of the week.
That would be good to see ODB back in TNA with a new look.
And, ladies and gentlemen, the father-to-be of Karma's baby, Mr. Nick Bondage, with his final thoughts of the week.
Just like everyone said, it was a very lacking week, and left me wanting for more. It's always good to be here on the show with Ashley, Andy, WWE fan, Mick34, Chase Matthews, and of course my tag team partner, the Iron Jake Slater, and that other guy. Oh, Billy, yeah, you.
Hey, Nick, I got a question. Who do you rather, Awesome Karma's cave that she has down there, or Mae Young's blue cheese?
Oh my God!
There's no comparison between the two. It's
oh my God! Whoever
difficult decision. I'll be here all week.
Whoever impregnated Karma must have had a battle royal of their own.
Oh my God!
Oh God!
That's right, he did. He had to try to one-up me. So, wait till next week, Rev, when I one-up you.
And remember, this goes particularly for, like, Mick and for Chase. You know, just because she's your cousin, it's still not right, okay? Don't. Just stop.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us sadly to the end of WrestleDOWN, the discussion on Wrestling Now. I'd like to thank everybody for joining me this week. The Iron Reverend Jake Slayer, Mick37 was a little tardy to the party. It's so to have him. Of course, the king of his own Dwight Trailer, Chase Matthews. The number one Dixie Carter rapist, stalker, fan, friend, follower, Andy, WWE fan, and of course, Mr. Nick Bondage himself. I'm Double B Billy Boudreaux saying, don't forget to listen to our sponsor before we go. And I'll tell you what, I'll read out loud our sponsor after I play the ending music. So with that being said, I'm Double B Billy Boudreaux saying, don't forget to worship the ground Chuck Norris walks on, or he will roundhouse kick you in the face. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Irene.